Hi guys! Today I'm here with John.
Hey.
He was once the #3 host at a host club here in Tokyo.
So originally I first came to Japan as a Mormon missionary. I realized that people are really good here. Japanese people are wonderful people in general. And I was trying to tell them that they needed my message to be better people. And I just didn't agree with myself after several months of this. And what I came to realize was, maybe there's a different way to life than what I've been brought up. Yeah, so I took a 3-year break between these two trips. I worked for a year, then I went to college for 2 years, and then I had a chance to come back to Japan. I was in a party club at school, and so some of these guys in it, they worked as hosts. I said, I want to work in Japan. I want to do something fun to practice the language, but no one lets me. And they're like, oh, I know what you'd be good at, John. And I was like, what? I said, you should be a host. I was like, okay, I've heard of this, but that's kind of crazy, man. And they were like really sold me on it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that's what I did.
Okay.
That's how I started it.
Wow.
And that's the sole reason why I first became a host.
Would you mind explaining to our viewers who may not know exactly what a host club is?
Yeah, sure thing. So a host club is like a nightclub with cables everywhere and TVs hanging down to sing karaoke. I worked in normal Japanese host clubs, and so everyone was Japanese.
Okay.
It's just a place to drink and have a lot of fun. Now there's kind of a stigma behind them because there are good and bad host clubs. But from the good side, which is where I worked, usually young ladies, ages 18 to 25 is the most common, they come to the club to drink. And it's pretty expensive. Your first time, it's 5,000 yen for 2 hours, so about 40-50 bucks US. And then after that, they have to pick someone to be their host.
Okay.
So from then on, you're their dedicated entertainer whenever they come to the club. And from then on, they also pay normal prices. A bottle of beer is like $15.
Wow.
Yeah, a bottle of champagne, like Dom Perignon in the store, is about $100, $120. In the club, it's about 60,000 yen. And so we are attached to the drinks and their price.
Yeah.
We just drank a lot and played games and sang karaoke. And so it's a very straightforward job. Your first day, you're cleaning the toilet. You're literally wiping puke off a toilet seat, and it's horrible. I mean, you have to clean it spick and span, like under the seat too. That's the worst part. And so, like the whole time when you're doing this, and you're setting up for the club, and when you do like a champagne tower with all the glasses, you have to put that up. Being a top host, it's called the kombu. When you're in the kombu, you don't have to do any of that, and you don't have to come to work so early, and you also get paid more as well. As you work your way up, you get a higher percentage. Getting to move from like the very bottom to like the first month you're there to like the top 10 feels really good. Yeah. Because everyone hates you for it. And you're just like, yeah.
Was there any tension with you being like a foreign host there?
There's some tension because I'm foreign and I tend to be the stereotypical American. Blonde hair, blue eye, tall. The #1 host, like they took me under their wings basically, and they introduced clients directly to me.
Okay.
Some people took that the wrong way, and they would badmouth me to new potential clients or my clients.
Oh, that's so catty.
The worst thing that you can call a host is basically makura eigyo, which means you sleep with your customers for money. Hosts are not gigolos. Okay. So that's the worst thing possible. And when someone says that basically defaces your value. People don't want to pick you anymore. And being one of the very few foreigners in Kabukicho that have done this, and there's a few others as well, the word will get out quickly, and I don't want to be associated with that.
Right. How much do hosts typically make then?
So when you're starting out, you don't make anything, really. And so the way you make money, there are a few ways, is obviously get paying customers to come and pay for the hourly charge, and then also buy drinks, which you'll get a percent of. So you can also go out on the streets and pick up girls. And for every one girl you bring into the club, you get 5,000 yen. You also get paid it on the spot. So being a student, that was super awesome because I tried so hard on the streets to pick up girls. This one comedian had the skit. He was really popular, so I would just like do his skit on the street. I would go up to girls and just do it in front of them. And then I'd be like, why don't you come drink in our club? And I could bring in 8 girls a night and get paid like $400.
Okay.
So, like for me, an average night was anywhere between like 50,000 to 100,000 yen.
Wow.
Because I would juggle like 2 or 3 customers at the same time in the club. And the average check size was at least 30,000 yen. So.
Wow.
Whenever a new customer comes in off the street, you'll basically have 2 hours to compete with all the other hosts. And it's pretty hard because, I mean, I'm not speaking my own language for one. And these guys are very aggressive. I mean, these guys are top sales folk. I mean, some of my friends went on to be really top selling pharmaceutical sales guys or real estate agents. They open their own businesses. You really have to play to your strengths, otherwise you don't win. And so this 2 hour period of time, you have to kind of pick when is a great time to go in as a quick intro and when you want to get in before they pick their host. So kind of you have to understand human psyche enough to know what works for each customer to win them. And so so many times I would just completely ignore a table of like 4 girls and then 1 or 2 of them would pick me because I completely shunned them the whole time, right?
Wow, that seems like that would be really good experience in kind of like a weird way then for getting better at being a salesperson and like presenting yourself.
Yeah, I first learned it as a Mormon missionary. The only non-religious books that I was allowed to read were like Dale Carnegie books, which are great books on sales, for example.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I really kind of learned that approach. And it is a really good way to kind of develop those skills because you might be juggling 3 customers at one time in a club for 6-7 hours. You have to always come up with topics. You have to always be reading the tabloids and have some sort of piece of conversation ready. It takes a lot of really strong sales skills.
Yeah, I can imagine. That seems really difficult. That's where your social work comes in.
That is. Yeah, you know, in Japan, I don't really hear a lot about psychologists or people going to them. So I almost kind of wonder if different places like this act as that. Because I would hear some really messed up things.
They would just
customers.
come in and talk about their problems.
Yeah, it was very interesting. It actually reminded me more about being a Mormon missionary than any other job I had. There's the selling part, which is in there, right? And then there's the just making someone feel better part.
Do they get really attached to their hosts?
Right, yeah, they do. It becomes a relationship. Not in the traditional sense, but as like a human-to-human relationship.
Right. And
the type of people that do come, they usually have a lot of disposable income. And so they work in an industry where they get that. You know, they work as hostesses or cabaret girls or even in many cases prostitutes. All these women would finish their jobs and then they would take the $2,000 they made that day or whatever it was. And they wanted to party and they wanted to forget what they did, or they wanted to objectify a man for a change.
Okay, right.
These are people that are not in the normal Japanese society, and in many cases the reason they're not is because they didn't make it in. They could be high school dropouts, or they could have been kicked out of their home, or they had an abusive dad, or something like that. And so talking with each of those people is probably been my favorite experiences there, is just kind of just hearing about their stories. And then, you know, you just learn completely new perspectives.
You definitely seem like you were really actually interested in these people.
It's all about just like caring about the people and, you know, when they're not in their club, calling them up and when they have a cold, bringing them cold medicine and stuff, and creating those really strong ties. That will, yeah, there's money behind it, but also you care about the people.
Yeah. So you would talk to these people outside of work hours too?
Yeah, definitely. That's probably like 90% of the work.
Oh, wow.
Like I had my own phone dedicated to this, and it was just like a constant mailing back and forth. So there's a lot of that involved.
What was the craziest night you had in the host club?
Probably the craziest story. It's not just women that come to the club. Oftentimes you'll get rich old men bring women, hostesses, with them to the club to be entertained. And I was entertaining this one guy. He had 4 hostesses he brought with him. It was really difficult to straddle the line between my normal sales technique, which is kind of approaching in a more lovey-dovey kind of way and like picking up a girl sort of thing, versus making sure this guy doesn't kill me. Yeah. You know? He was really drunk and he was like, oh, you're from Tennessee, and I told him my hobbies, like I'd been hunting before and I'd fish, and he said, I have a gun, and everyone's just like, what? And I was like, let's drink, and it was just kind of crazy, you know? When you escort the girl to the bathroom, you're just waiting outside with an oshibori, this wet towelette, and this girl like was trying to pull me inside with her, and I was all like, no, I can't do this, I don't want to get killed, like, there's this crazy dude here, and you're trying to make me do something. And in general, as a host, you want customers to come back, so so doing something like that gives them what they want, and you want them to come back after that, so I wouldn't want to do anything. It just got crazy out of hand, and then I learned later that he had some ties with some nefarious individuals, and it's one of those moments where I thought, oh gosh, what am I doing?
How are you functioning by the end of the night after drinking so much?
Well, so we force ourselves to throw up, actually.
Wow, okay.
So that's the big secret.
Yeah.
So we'll do that many times a night. But even that, it gets to you, specifically the carbonation.
Yeah.
So probably one of the worst times that happened to me was when I was first starting out. I refused to throw up. I was like, I don't want to become bulimic, this is weird. And then I woke up, it was like noon, I was in the management office of the host club.
Oh my God.
I was on the floor, there was like puke on my jacket, and they had dragged me in there because I had just blacked out. And, and there was like a water bottle spilled over next to me, and I had no idea what happened. And so like from then on, I learned to puke. So.
Wow. Would you consider yourself a pickup artist?
No, I am not a pickup artist. I am married. I don't really like that whole scene, and it's so far attached from what I actually did, which is, you know, just have fun with people. That's why I consider myself a social worker or an entertainer, because the objectives are completely different.
Yeah.
The guys that are doing it just to get girls, and the guys that have an objective, there's a clear gap in their success levels.
How did you end up then making your way out of this business?
I had a specific objective. I wanted to afford going to college in Tokyo, and I majored in economics and finance.
In finance.
So the reason I quit, one of those reasons was I had a few job offers, and I wanted to actually develop skills beyond being able to drink.
Right. That seems like it would be an interesting bit of experience to put on your resume too.
So I got a few jobs telling them about it. Like, you know, when you're in an interview, there's really no rules. And so I remember both at the bank and then this one really big startup that was launching in Asia, in the interview, I sensed that they weren't interested in me. And I said, well, what if I told you in college I was paid to drink with Japanese women? And they said, what? You're paid to drink? Well, like, what does that have to do with this? I'm like, I know how to sell. You know, I'll show you. And then like, it got them interested in
it.
You'd be amazed at what work experience is actually applicable.
Right. But that's not because he was a host. He's a very motivated person. Like, you have to have that motivation and like the work ethic first.
Yeah, and I didn't display this till like the final interview. And it was basically your final appeal beyond your role-related knowledge and all that stuff. So don't think that you can walk into like an investment bank and say, I was a host, hire me.
So you did really well for yourself, but you also hinted at, like, you saw where some other people ended up. So I'm guessing that's not the story for other people who work in this business. Right.
I mean, obviously you can find success in any realm. And if you open your own restaurant after saving up all this money, you can be very successful. Other people that aren't as successful, they're just trapped in this endless loop of going from job to job, and so it doesn't fare so well. So I've seen both success stories and I've seen sadder stories.
Right.
The girls that would come to the club, they're the ones that don't end up that well because they're blowing their money in many cases.
Right.
Whereas the ones that actually, you know, open their own club, they do very, very well.
Host clubs, to a lot of people, kind of have like a shadier image. So how shady is this business really? Like,
right, so it's like any other business, really. So there are shady real estate businesses and there are shady restaurants. And so this world in particular is no different in that the more popular clubs are usually the more legitimate ones, and so
Okay.
I chose a popular one.
Yeah.
Some clubs do nothing but rip people off, especially if you're going to get talked to in the streets of Roppongi. Don't ever go to those places if they're talking to you on the street. But there's also legitimate ones, and I would say it's kind of a slippery slope fallacy in foreign media that
Right.
like all hostess clubs and all host clubs deal with human trafficking and all this horrible stuff.
Yeah.
When that's just like a small percentage.
Right.
And those places usually get shut down.
Right. Okay. Thank you for being here and answering all our questions and teaching us a little bit about the host industry. I'll refer everyone to your channel, which is
Book of Host.
Book of Host, and he's writing a book, so keep an eye out for that. But he'll be sharing lots more stories, like things we didn't cover here.
Yeah, this book will also be written by everyone's comments as well. So if you have questions about it, then I'll make sure to include that in the book and future videos as well, because everything's so normal to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's cool.
Alright, well thank you very much for being here, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank
Bye!
you. See you.
So I had my goal, I had my mission set. I would find a job in Osaka, Japan, and I would use it to further my understanding of Japanese culture